Ahoy, mateys! 'Tis I, Captain Horatio Honeyflakes, and I be here to tell you about me newest crowdfunding campaign. The adventures continue with me crew, the Mighty Mascots, in issues 7, 8, and 9. Just focus your looking glass on the amazing artwork of Ian Warianto and Anton Bondi. Me crew, the Mighty Mascots, are up against some scurvy scallywags, and we need ye help to defeat them. There be a bounty of exclusive treasure, only available here, where X marks the spot. I spy a huge coffer of bonuses and stretch goals on the horizon. Then please consider pledging so we can continue these adventures with the weirdest crew I ever had the pleasure of sailing with. Mascots Unleash!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots and promoter for the Plastic City Comic Con. And with me is Johnny C., creator of Surrounded by Death, and Sartana. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? How's it going?
Not much. I feel like I haven't seen you forever, dude. Like, I know it's only been 2 weeks since.
Yeah, I know. It feels like forever. It's because we did a lot in the in between.
Yes.
We were both at shows. I traveled a little bit. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, I feel like there's been a million things I got to tell you.
I know, right? We got so much catching up to do.
I know. It's so funny. One of the things I wanted to talk about, though, because, since we're live and we've been talking about possibly moving the show to Monday nights, and I feel like the audience is okay with that. I mean, I haven't heard anybody say, no, don't do Mondays, but
yeah.
So the way I kind of earmarked our schedule we have a guest on the 2nd of May, which is Sam Vera, our good friend. It's
our good friend Sam from Catch the Craze.
And I think that'll probably be the last episode we do at 8:30 on a Tuesday. And I'm thinking we do 8:30 Mondays from there forward. And the other thing I wanted to do is so anytime there's a Monday holiday, like with like Memorial Day, which is on a Monday, I'm thinking we double up either the week before so that we have that week off when there's a holiday. So like I'll keep an eye out on that for the calendar year, So there'll be weeks where we go back to back, like 2 Mondays in a row, and then we have, you know what I mean? Like
right.
You keep a consistent schedule.
Or a Tuesday, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think once we go to Mondays, I think I'm gonna actually like that better than going to Tuesday. I don't know. Ever since we did those couple of Mondays, didn't you feel like that?
Those Mondays felt good. I recall myself even saying on the show that doing it on a Monday felt like I had the rest of the week just to like do other things. I felt like Wednesday, when our original slot was such like a bump in the road. Not that the experience was a bump in the road, but just like one thing I had to do amongst so many other things that, when I was hitting my stride during the middle of the week,
Yeah, and I mentioned to you earlier too about how like you work all week, the weekend re-energizes you, and then Monday you're still kind of full of energy from the weekend.
A little bit.
So it's like
the
show will be better because we're more on, I guess,
Yeah, maybe a little bit more focused too.
More focus, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But so that's one thing. And then conventions. You were at C2E2 this past weekend. And I was at Retro Expo, Joe Souza's Retro Expo on Saturday.
How was Retro?
It was good. It was so one thing I think you'll appreciate, because you were there last year.
Yes.
Right. So he worked it. So you were on so it's a giant sports complex, kind of like the one that we're going to use for Plastic City. But the year before, he had it spread out all over the entire place. This year, he had everybody just on the AstroTurf part. So it was all contained in that one space.
Oh, okay.
The aisles were smaller. you know, and there was a lot more to see and do, and it was all contained in that one area.
Yeah.
Better, much better.
Which I feel like the flow of the other show is that not everybody.
It wasn't his fault.
Right. No, and I love Joe, love Wendy. They put on excellent shows. Love their convention. So I definitely don't pin it on them. I know that they struggled with the Longplex and the town of Tiverton, Rhode Island. I know there was a lot of things going on there, but you know, doesn't reflect poorly on Joe or Wendy at all. They're wonderful people. Love those guys.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone out there in the New England area should consider that show. It's a one-day convention. It's a mix of everything, toys, comics, you know, whatever, and it's only $10 to get in. So, and there's not a lot of high-end celebrities taking up the money, so everyone does pretty well. Like, I will admit I did a little better last year as far as money goes, but I think it's because everyone is so fresh out of the pandemic. Everyone had money, and now we feel like everything's kind of, you know, leveled off a little bit, and like in a little bit with the economy a little bit, you know, I think people a little more, you know, tight, I guess, you know, with their wallets, you know,
a little bit.
Yeah. How about how was your experience at C2E2?
I was going to say wallets weren't tight at C2E2. I did very well there. It's
get to that show again.
First show of the year, but it's lining up to be my best show of the year. Well, you know, we'll see how I almost did as well as I did at Wicked last year.
Oh wow, I know you did amazing at Wicked. So yeah, we did well too. So I'm hoping this year's Wicked will be as awesome, if not better. You know,
same. I'm really looking forward to that show. Also got to hang out with our friends from Global Comics.
Oh, nice.
They've got me on the app, the beta for the app right now.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm getting live as they update versions of the app.
Oh, cool.
So I was playing around with that a little bit. I didn't get to play too much, but I'm going to check it out a little bit more, and hopefully going to give a little bit more feedback on future episodes. But it's been real fun playing with the Global Comics app.
Oh, awesome.
We're going to have to bring them on the show so they can, feature it again. And
let's set something up. Do you have anything in their ears? I mean, we got some openings in May and stuff like right now. So May, June.
Yeah, we can talk to them. We'll have to reach out, and I think we'll schedule something because they are very busy. They just had Top Cow and a bunch of other big indie publishers. Yeah, they're a big deal. Let me tell you what.
They did the right thing. They built this company slowly, and that
me and Chris were talking about that over the weekend over a beer. We're just saying, the approach they took was just so smart. I mean, if they tried to go fast and hard all up front, they may have fizzled out by now.
Burned.
Right.
But the indie community, everybody in indies knows of them now, So.
Speaking of which, nothing I can confirm, but I'm going to try to work with them on something really big for C2E2 next year.
Okay. You'll have to tell me off the air what it is.
Yeah. I'll tell you. I'll fill you in all off there. But put it this way: C2E2 from now till next year, if it happens, it's going to be a very busy year for me.
Okay, that's very cool, man.
That's tease number one. Tease number two: C2E2 is great because I met a lot of really great artists, and I already have projects in motion. Which is awesome. I've felt very reinvigorated as a creator in that regard.
Nice. Dude,
and the only other tease I can give is that I think the Surrounded by Death universe is going to grow a little bit bigger.
Oh yeah,
just a little bit bigger.
So are we talking a side project or a side quest, as they would call it?
Yeah, something along those lines. But
spin-off.
Yeah, so something along those lines, and there's the artist lined up to do that. So that's just the tease.
Yeah, dude, I like it. Awesome. All right, so, and I like that you met a bunch of artists. So I'm gonna say, is Clark and 5? Could that be in the works?
Maybe. I mean, that one I got to spend a little bit more time on. I think that's my magnum opus.
I know.
So it's I'm so sensitive to it. You know what I mean?
I getcha, and I guess it's because you've been talking for it a while, and I like the sounds of it. I want to see that start to happen. I guess
Yeah. Thanks, man. Especially now with AI being such a big thing, just in the general zeitgeist of social what it was is a conflict between AI and humanity. So I'd like to circle back around to that story, and now might be a better time than any, but I've got all these other projects lined up.
Awesome, man. I love it. I feel your energy through the camera, you know, feel like
there's a little bit of excitement.
Sometimes it happens with those shows, because like we were talking before, we were texting back and forth, and I get this every year, but like you were like, I don't know if I want to go to this freaking convention. And I was the same way. I like, you know, you start to be like, you get used to being at home and doing your own thing, lost in your head. And
For sure.
And then you find, then it feels like the convention's like a burden. But once you get there, it's a whole other story. Like I get there and I started talking to people, and then like I come alive. Like, you know, it's like that shot of adrenaline. I don't know. There's something about cons and people there and people interested in your stuff. And you know what I mean? It's seeing old friends. It's just like something about it. But you do feel that burden angle right at the beginning. I gotta admit that, you know?
For me, it was the anxieties of travel. You know what I mean? Travel's always a pain in the butt for me. And, you know, it was mostly smooth getting there and coming back with only a few minor bumps. But aside from that, it was, you know, it was all good.
That's awesome. Yeah, one other thing I want to talk about real quick too before we bring everybody in. And
we got
a great show tonight. We got
great guests tonight.
Yeah, we got Jason Sandberg, which I'm dying to get to know, and then also our good friends Chris and Diana from Hero Shack, who run a great show and also have a bunch of great comics. It'd be great to catch up with them as well.
Their show was one of my best shows last year.
Yeah, really fun time, really fun. Like just a really good, solid one-day show. But also, so what I wanted to talk about, I've been pumping Mighty Mascots, the figures, the muscle figures for a while. We ran into a little bit of a production issue with them.
Oh no, what happened?
I want to tell people about. So we got a bag or two of them in, which was yay! It's finally starting to happen.
Yeah,
so
that's exciting.
Amy started going through them and noticed a couple discrepancies with them, you know, like chips here and there and stuff like that. So we got on the phone with the guy who makes them, and he was telling us what he was trying to do. He was trying to like save them by like adding this spray coat and all this stuff on it. And he was doing it because the material he was using, I guess over time it starts to harden and the pieces become brittle and fall off.
So I remember that from toys back in the day, where the like those rubber wrestling figures and things would start to crack, and that's just rubber for you generally. Look at your tire, you know, tires are like that.
Right. And Amy knows sculpting and things like that. So Amy got on the phone with him, and then so we're gonna wait for him to he's gonna get this other resin to make them. That way this new resin's supposed to have a everlasting kind of quality to it, so the figures won't fall apart in time and grow. You know, because I want the biggest thing for me is I want to put something out, but I want to make sure it's quality. Like I don't want to, like, you know what I mean? You spend all that money, and then you ask people to spend money on you, and you give them this like crap product. So.
Quality control, man. That's the bottom line, you know.
Yeah. So, but the unfortunate thing is, it's going to push the toy. I probably won't have them in hand until late summer, which
I was going to ask what the timeline is, but you know, late summer's not too bad of a push.
No, and either I'll start a separate campaign for it, or I'll wait and just put it on the next time I do it, you know, and just sell them at cons for the time being or something like that.
Yeah. Or you could, I mean, mini campaign. There's so many ways you can go about introducing it. You know what I mean?
Like that. Yeah, I can do
something even really clever. I mean, you know, bide your time with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like once I can get it together, do that, you know.
Get it together.
Yeah, exactly. So with all that, we got a great chat tonight. I mean, I don't know,
we do.
Have been going crazy, and so I got to thank StreamYard for adding this feature where we can stream. So if you have a guest in your show, they can stream out to their audience as well, so we can build up our audience bigger and bigger.
I'm streaming to Twitch and my Twitter right now.
Yeah, that's
currently.
right. So we got you streaming to people, I'm streaming to people, and then our guests are streaming to people, which is fantastic. So,
yeah, it's real awesome. We're expanding our visibility here, which is good.
I love it. I love StreamYard's the best. So
we're syndicated, baby.
Guys. Yeah, that's great. So I guess without further ado, unless you have anything
Oh.
else you want to talk about before.
Yes. Did I send you the
Oh yes. Yeah. Let me.
something in the, so
You did.
C2E2 was great, but if you pull up this photo, this is what I came home to.
Okay. Hang on. Let me do this real quick. You gave me a nice photo here. All right. So.
Yeah, this was so I knew I had such a great show and was riding such a high. Something had to go wrong. That is my
Oh, no,
comic
what is-
bookshelf.
What am I looking at here, Johnny? What am
See,
I-
so if you notice, the bottom half of the bookshelf is completely collapsed.
Okay.
At some point during my away time, my
Yep.
bookshelf completely caved in on itself. I know. Look, do you see my Mighty Mascot cereal box on the ground there?
I do see it there.
It's so sad.
Yeah. Did you lose anything or no?
So it's so precarious because I don't know if you noticed at the top of the bookshelf, I have a lot of hot toys that are very expensive.
Oh, yes,
but
did
they
any of those fall?
miraculously did not fall over. So,
wow.
And I've been busy since I got back. So maybe this weekend I'm going to have to very slowly take everything off, and then disassemble the shelf and come up with a new solution. But what I think I'm going to do is take the opportunity to rearrange and maybe build more of a set like you have. And then
look at that.
And then maybe like swizzle my camera around and do a different kind of approach here. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be cool, man.
Yeah, dude.
Even when I do other shows, people are like, they're like looking like this in the camera to see what I have here. But I always tell them, like, this is my personality right here on this wall.
Yeah, man.
Every aspect of me is right back here,
Hells yeah.
So, but yeah, that's awesome, dude. I hope you don't lose anything when you go and straighten out,
It looks okay because a lot of the real thick, like bigger omnibus books are on the bottom shelf.
Yeah,
and those have some pretty good integrity. I think I probably chipped a few corners and there's some foxing now, I bet, but I wasn't looking to try to resell them anyway. Those are my comics, you know what I mean?
They're only worth the cover price most of the time anyways.
Well, actually, I've seen some of those. I've seen some of those out of print ones. Actually, I think my Infinity War one is at the bottom there, and that one's pretty pricey.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Huh. I figured that one would be, available everywhere.
Well, it's the big hardcover omnibus one that's out of print.
Oh,
that's why.
Okay, yeah, those ones are worth money. That's true.
Yeah,
like, they do a limited run of them or something like that.
Right.
But all right,
I'm gonna I was gonna say I'm gonna have to start a GoFundMe for a new bookshelf.
Right.
All right. So without further ado,
yeah. Actually, on that note, I wonder if I have anything I can give you. Like might have some old shelves or something. I might be able to get. I'll look around. I'll let you know. Unless you're buying a new one, I don't know.
I was gonna say I have a few concrete blocks and a few 2x4s I can use.
There you go. But, all right, yeah. Without further ado, let's bring in tonight's guest because I'm eager to bring everybody in. Let's start.
Yeah, for sure.
So Jason Sandberg, he's like right into the reading.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, hello there. I didn't see you.
How's it going, Jason? Thanks for joining us.
It's going good. I got to tell you, back when I was a kid, I've read the first issue.
Okay.
And then my life got busy because of the campaign, so I got to read issue 2. But you've got the crest, the facsimile crest heroes in there.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I would wait for that damn crest commercial to come on because I could tell. I'm like, it looks like Jack Kirby did that. And it was probably like Herb Trimpe or something like that. But I was just like, oh, it's that Crest commercial. It was so sad, but it was so much fun to see like what looked like Kirby art animated.
Especially the cavity creeps, right?
Yeah, the cavity creeps.
When the cavity creeps would go like this to like the screen, I was like, oh my God, it's Kirby,
Yeah, I could tell. And it was cool. It's like it was either like they paid Kirby to do it or somebody there loved Kirby. And like, if they love Kirby, they're gonna. I'm on the same wavelength as them, so it was just exciting to see, right?
Yeah, and if you ever have time, man, go on YouTube. Somebody has all of the commercials in one video. You can watch them all, and they're incredible. They're awesome.
It's fantastic nostalgia.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Did you guys ever have this problem? Like on Saturday mornings, they would have Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, okay? But it was always the way in Minnesota, the way it was programmed. it was always shoved up to like 10:30, 11 a.m., right? So I would be waiting out. I'd be like a war of attrition. Got to get through the Scooby-Doo. Got to get through all this crap, right? And whatever else they had, I'm like, come on. It's got to be Spider-Man. It's got to be. They got to be there. And one of three things would happen. It'd be a Spider-Man and his amazing friends. You'd be like, ah, damn, here we go, locked in. This is gonna be great, right? Or suddenly it'd be like golf. What? It's like we have this one thing. We've got this one thing, right? And you're taking it from us. And then for whatever reason, the other third of the time they would play this show called Small Wonder about the girl robot.
Oh yeah,
and
Girl Robot.
Yeah,
that made
Vicky.
me so mad. I'm like, they don't know what they're doing to us. This
We
torture.
got you beat over here. Instead of golf, we got candlepin bowling. So it was
Yeah,
like
that's
a
right.
battle of boring,
Ouch.
sports.
Yeah.
So but before we go any further, let us bring in our other two guests tonight. We got Chris. Chris is also reading his book. Oh my god, was that
Brilliant.
boring, John?
No, you know what? I couldn't let Jason beat me out there, but I was like, crap, all your books are like in the bedroom because my wife was reading them, so I grabbed some preprint of our series. But yeah,
That's
Hi,
awesome.
guys.
And then we also got Diana too from
oh, you
everyone's reading tonight. That's
I'm amazing
fantastic.
at comics, though.
Oh my god, it's great to have all three of you on. And
Yeah,
Jason,
thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And
So,
you
Chris
know-
and Diana, have you ever had a shelf failure like Johnny had? That ever happened to you?
No.
only metaphorically.
Does that not just give you anxiety looking at that photo?
I'm triggered.
Harry's asking, what about the hanker for a hunk of cheese guy? Everyone, did you have that over there?
Yeah, we had that. We had just a bill on Capitol Hill. Yeah.
Oh yes,
Oh,
yes,
I love
those
the
are all
bill.
classic.
Not as good as Kirby-esque Crest commercial.
The amazing Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends for us was in the middle somewhere. I remember I always knew the end of Saturday morning cartoons was the Filmation Tarzan was always like the last thing in our area
Okay.
before like golf or usually it's candlepin bowling.
You said candlepin bowling, and that brought it all back. I remember those days.
Right?
I
Yeah.
didn't even know there was big ball bowling. I thought it was all candlepin, you know?
So
Yeah, and that's
I
a
actually feel like the
uniquely
younger
New England thing too, from what I understand. Like
Yeah.
everybody, no one else has that in,
being the youngest person in the room, I imagine I was lucky enough to, as soon as the Candlepin Bowling or the dog show came on, I just flipped to the cable channels. And USA Network would carry me through the rest of the afternoon.
That
Spoiled.
was before we had cable though, so we usually had to go
Right.
outside or whatever. Play
Funny
it
you
Right.
said flip. I remember sliding. We had slider boxes.
Oh,
Like, it was so stupid. It was like a slider that had all the numbers and a little yellow light behind it. It was wood grain, fake plastic wood grain,
oh yeah.
right next to your 2600. It looked perfect. Yeah.
The tube TV that was actually also furniture.
Yeah,
Black and white as well, because my
Yeah.
mom didn't get color for years after it came out. It was always 19-inch black and white.
yeah, right. Good.
Yep.
Tim Olson, thanks for joining us, Tim. He said good old USA Network. Yeah, that's
Good
true.
old USA Network.
And Harry
So
says
just
Stan
for
Lee did
props?
voiceovers on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Usually narrated it, didn't he?
Narrated the intros, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And he would always like fill in the blanks if there was something going on.
Yeah.
But
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
So hey guys, thanks for joining us tonight. It's just great to see
Thanks for
both
having
Diana.
us.
So Jason, we know Diana and Chris really well because they're local creators,
Okay.
and
We've
see
seen
them
them
in
at
a lot of
shows and
shows.
stuff and harassed them at their table. And
Yeah,
Nice.
hey, Keith, where'd you get that shelf? It
Yeah.
literally, we asked him where he's got his shelving before.
hey, I love that though.
He's got
I
nice
really
shelving.
give
What
that-
can you say?
Yeah,
Best
I
shelves in the
really give that
show.
info. What's that?
I said, you got the best shelves in the show.
Oh, thanks, man.
You
I
always
tried.
Yeah, his don't collapse.
And he has like that rotating sign sometimes he brings.
Yeah.
I'm getting
Oh,
shelf envy
my God.
over here.
I'm selling.
How about you, Jason? Where are you out of?
I'm out of Minnesota.
Oh,
And
Minnesota.
you
Okay.
can't tell now, but spring is here. It keeps trying to snow, but it's kind of melting as it goes.
Oh,
So I'll be
okay.
getting the bike out pretty soon.
Nice. Do you have any big conventions out that way?
There's a couple different conventions. There's like one in the fall, one in the spring, I don't have any plans to attend any conventions for Jupiter until after it's printed. After it's printed, I'll start making the rounds. I've got I'm going to be doing, after I fulfill, I'll be doing a signing at my LCS. But otherwise, no con appearances immediately on the horizon.
Okay.
Cool.
Do they have a lot of shows out that way or no?
Yeah, there's usually 2 or 3 pretty big ones a year. I've met Dan Jurgens in the past, and there's some good ones.
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
good to hear.
fall con. There's a fall con, and then there'll also be other like kind of horror conventions that'll have comic books and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I've been falling in love with these library shows and stuff, even though that's a little biased because we just did one of our own.
Dude, that's
love the
my
library.
jam this year. I was telling Johnny, I've been pulling out of all the multi-day shows because you know, like I went to Terrificon last year, which was 3-day show, and when it was all over, I looked at the money we made, and it was like, God, you know, like it was barely enough for each day to even go there, you know.
Not to come to the defense of the show, but it was also kind of a disaster in the sense you kept on having to bounce around.
Yeah, that
could have factored into
that
things.
was crazy. That was crazy.
That was nuts.
What happened exactly?
Yes. So I had to move my table 3 times at this show.
Because the lines were so long, they were blocking everything else, or what?
I wish. No, I'm a comic creator, so he had me right in the toy section, which made absolutely 0 sense. So then I know the promoter, which helps, you know, so and there was empty spaces because, you know, still people were kind of hesitant to come back because of COVID and everything. But I found another spot in Artist Alley, and it was right next to this Spider-Man artist, huge Spider-Man artist.
Right.
And I was like, this is great. That's a perfect spot for me, you know?
Right.
But then his line kept going in front of our tables.
I remember how frustrated you were.
God. Yeah. And then we ended up finding another spot that was 2 aisles down, and that ended up being absolutely perfect for the final spot. Thank God. But
trying to find you guys. You kept moving. I'm like, where'd they go?
Yeah, no. It was like
musical
Waldo
chairs.
Comic-Con edition, you know?
Yeah.
No, we were taking it personal. We were like, every time we know where he is, he moves.
It was like the Carmen Sandiego of Comic-Con.
But you know who I kept finding? I kept finding Johnny. Hey,
You can't miss me.
Yeah.
Where is he now?
Yeah. You just have to listen.
Yeah. Yeah, but the funny thing about Comic Cons in this area, Jason, is that the New England area, for some reason, like there's a lot of them. I mean, you literally could find something happening every weekend if you tried, you know, between Comic Cons, Art Fest, you know, craft shows, you know, anything.
Someone's armory has a special event, you know, and they're like, yeah, we'll take a comic book vendor, sure, you know, and you never know what you're riding up on, but it's, you know, the flavor of New England is interesting because people will come out, and if you're like a local creator, there are some people that have never bought a comic book in their life, and they'll see me and they're like, I'll take one of all. What?
Right.
Yes, I want to support you. Give me one of everything you have. And it's like
you can find some wild, crazed Hawaiian guy in a Hawaiian shirt selling comics on his front lawn.
So what part of New England?
Massachusetts, where we're all primarily in, like Central Mass,
Okay.
you know. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Boston. There's stuff going on in Vermont, Connecticut,
Springfield,
New York. You know,
Greenfield.
it's all within a driving distance for us. You know,
And then you get like New Hampshire. You get some in New Hampshire, like Manchester has a nice one, and Connecticut has Terrificon, and I think it's Connecticut, isn't it? Or is that Rhode Island?
Yeah, Connecticut's Terrificon. I do Saratoga Springs, New York, upstate New York.
Yeah, so there's a ton of them.
They're right. It's like all around. It's like a 2-hour drive almost, maybe 3 or 4 if you go really out there, but it's not far.
Yeah, exactly. And so this year I decided like I'm only gonna do 1-dayers, and if I do a 2-day, it's gonna be something unique or something that we did well at last time. So as of now, Wicked Comic Con's the only multi-day show I'm doing. And then I'm also going to do a new show in Vermont called Rail
City
Comic Fest or something.
Yep.
It's a 2-day show. But my secret agenda for that is to like just have a few days off in Vermont with my wife after the show. You know?
It's a vacation show.
So vacation show.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
Speaking
definitely.
Speaking of Vermont, have any of you ever run into Rick Veitch?
No, he doesn't do. I know who he is.
Yeah.
I don't see him at a lot of shows. Do you,
Okay,
Johnny? He's an
Well,
old.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the
Swamp
name.
Thing writer.
Rick Veitch.
Rick Veitch, old Swamp Thing writer.
I've never seen him.
Okay.
He may have been at the early Vermont Comic Cons that Jay used to do.
Okay, maybe in the 90s.
No, actually, it was late 2000s even.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
I would love to see him because I loved his old Swamp Thing books. And what was that comic he had? Was it Brat Pack?
He did Brat Pack, and he did this one called The One. And he did his Dream comics, and he worked on 1963 with Alan Moore.
Gotcha.
He's one of the people. It's one of those. If you could have dinner with 4 people, who would it be? And I'd be like, I definitely would want to have dinner with Rick Veitch at some point. So
yeah. Do you know him, Chris? He did a great run on Swamp Thing. Probably.
Well, I've heard his name. I'm sure I've read a few issues here and there, but it's not like. No offense, he wouldn't be in my top 4, but I'm like, wow, that's really honorable that he's in yours. But like mine's kind of weird, like I have a guitarist and I have like a janitor from my childhood, and like
nice.
Janitor from your child. I gotta hear the story.
So I want to know, like, what was it? Was it like was this one of those like Bagger Vance things where he gave you all kinds of like good life advice and stuff like that? Or what? Tell me more about
it was
this.
kind of like, it's kind of sad. I was just kind of like fatherless, and there was this guy at the Stephen Barker that I still remember, and he was just always, you'd be kind of down, he'd be, come on, son, cheer up. And
nice. No, that's cool.
And I would love to have dinner with him
cool.
now. I know he's dead.
That's cool.
It's one of those things where it'd be cool to go back and like, do you know what you made me feel like? That was good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like cool. To just thank him like that for the guidance and that's cool.
Now that I think about it, I remember back to elementary school, and the cafeteria was also like kind of like the auditorium. Mm-hmm. So the like cafeteria tables would literally just push into the wall. And I remember being a part of a group of kids that he would, the janitor would call on to say, hey, help me push all these in the wall and clean up the auditorium. And he always had a box of donuts in his office, and he'd offer us each a donut in exchange for help. Cool. And it was kind of that same positive experience, a little bit of hard work, but here's your reward,
Like a mentor, like almost like a mentor.
I did go to school in Massachusetts, and he was kind of like my first impression of like work ethic. You know what I mean?
What this guy?
That janitor. Now that I think about it,
I worked for a school district, and we just closed one 5 years ago that had those same tables that roll up into the.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. All the schools. All the schools where I grew up have been renovated and replaced. So nothing is as it was before, unfortunately. But there were just traces of this like old style from like a decades gone era,
Is that sort of like the bleachers in the gym that they would push up in the wall, kind of like that? Yeah.
Sort of, yeah. Well, but these were just like long picnic tables that would push up into a wall. Yeah, it was all like
go up. You'd have
What's
like
that?
a bed that would go up in the wall, like on TV, that show them. Yeah. I never lived in an apartment like that, but they had those like hideaway beds that would just, from the headboard, it would just rotate up into the wall.
Yeah, same idea.
Yeah, it'd be like slapstick moments where the person would fall in the bed and it would go into the wall, like in a sitcom.
Well, I imagine they probably got rid of these tables because people probably lost a finger or two while they were folding them up.
That's the other thing too. Is I definitely crushed my finger a few times in there.
That's the worst. You get the blood blister going.
Remember the paper cutters that had the knife gun? I'm amazed. We had those like in like first grade. And no way they would allow that now, but man, we were tougher than these young kids.
I know, right? We had actually had sharp blade. We had machetes just casually hanging out in the classroom.
Exactly.
Now they have safety scissors made of pipe cleaners. It's like
exactly.
No, we're starting like a bunch of old men.
Yeah, we are.
Remember back when?
Kids these days.
We had those dangerous things all
in my day. We used to have lead in our pencils.
We used to have lead.
Oh my god!
Oh boy.
My day, we had to wait around for the cartoons, and we're everywhere.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We
Totally.
didn't have them on demand like everybody else, you know.
Well, you know, it's
Yeah,
funny
good
with all
old
the
days.
AI art and all the controversy. It's like I remember when computers first started affecting animation, and I look at my own comics, and they're all digital. So like someone who's straight traditional would say I'm cheating. So it's like it's a bizarre parallel. You know, it's like, oh, I'm uncomfortable with AI sometimes, but then again, I'm like, well, this is the way we're going. Like that's what they're using now, I guess. I don't know. I can see Marvel and DC going to that if they had to.
Yeah,
Once
I
it
mean,
gets good enough.
we did a show
So
with a couple guys like about a month ago, and we talked about that whole thing, and it's definitely not quite there yet. You know, that's what
No.
I found out. You know,
I had a lot of conversations over the weekend at C2E2 with different creators in terms of AI art. I actually even had one artist sit down and we pulled up a piece of AI art and we had them tear it apart. And they just, they picked every little detail and everything. And it made me actually think about AI art specifically is like, I think if that becomes predominant and we lose that artistic integrity that is like art that's created by a human, which you can tell that there's like a little bit of soul, there's a little bit of
Yeah.
care that's put into it, as opposed to like this just AI computer generated image that looks fake. It looks like that, uncanny valley that they've been trying so hard to squash in the movies. It, we're going to become resistant to it. We're going to think of it as, like a commercial, easier to ignore. Whereas, you can turn to actually human drawn art and you can see the beauty of it,
Well, it's a lot like music. If you look at like a live band versus, a dance band, the difference is phenomenal. Extreme just put out a new single called Rise.
okay.
They're just a rock and roll band, and it sounds so fresh compared to anything that's on top 40. And maybe
Oh,
that's
really?
higher because I love metal, but it's like the difference between a real drummer and a perfect synchronized. It's night and day. So I think you're going to see the separation in AI versus a hand artist. There is something.
especially in
You're
our
right.
field, especially in our field, because like if people like look at digital, like digital just never, it's there's an audience for it, but it never outdid traditional. Like it's still
Yeah.
like much
Well, the whole
lower.
purpose of digital and comics is to emulate traditional. Like it's like, and most people, I don't know how you guys feel, but I usually don't like it when too much digital effect is in the comic. Like
Yes, I prefer
when I'm doing my
it be
art, like I
done.
use some blur sometimes, but I don't like over blur and like because it's like sometimes it gets over a little much.
I like, I like the old school, like Kirby,
Yeah.
like we were talking Kirby earlier and Ditko and stuff like that. I love that old style flat coloring, I don't know. I'm a fan of
Well,
that.
that was one of the great things about Alterna is they kind of had that feel of it. But
They
there is
do.
something,
Newsprint,
there is something to that flat. We're not trying to be a photograph color, like the comics when they weren't trying to be. Not that there's something wrong with masterpieces of art, but when they were like, no, we're making these monthly, you're getting this like this, and this is what we're giving you, and we were like, good, give us more. We love it. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that's one thing I gotta say about Alterna. They still do the old school style with newsprint, so.
Jason,
So
did you
what-
have any thoughts on the AI art?
So what I think is that I think that if there's the application that I can see for AI art is to create consistent backgrounds. And I know there's some people that use 3D modeling, right? But I think so. What I see is like an artist doing the foreground and doing the movement and stuff in the poses, and then say, okay, so I've got this room, and I want you to give me an office with this many chairs and do it in line art, just to speed up the backgrounding, right? Because that's the way where you can use it as a tool to get more done on like a monthly deadline, but you still don't have that dehumanization and stuff like that. So I could see that as an application. I am highly skeptical that that the AI can do what a true artist can do. I think it's good. It will be good. I think it can be used for I want to conceptualize something, and give me like a proof of concept of this. I can see it being used that way, or I want to, like, say you're like a book designer or something like that, and say, okay, I want to give me a cavern with a glowing gem and a big snake or something like that. I could see that as a generator, and for a one shot is probably something fantastic. But for sequential storytelling and the way the artist is like a movie director, I don't think I don't think I want to see it, and I don't think it's a good use. But again, the big two, their goal is to shove product out the door, so they might go all in on it, and consequences be damned. But I think indie creators, most likely, if they use it, it'll be to create backgrounds just so they can get more done.
Yeah, Harry has a good point here too. He said, as an artist, the only thing I can see using AI is doing variant versions of your original drawings or art. Yeah, I can see that. You could, have it take a look at it and give yourself
Well, at
a
least that would
variant
be
or
a database of your own artwork too.
What's
Like
that?
that would be a database of your own artwork, I think, versus like what it's currently doing, I guess, is it just scans a database of as many images as it can probably grab on the internet, is my guess.
My cousin's in marketing, and he actually has one. He had one of the earlier licenses, and so he talked to me about it about a year ago. And basically, it's like you go through these different iterations where you say, okay, I want a woman with a tiger on the beach, right?
Okay.
And then so it runs through these iterations, and you can say it'll spit out like 50 of them. And then you can say, okay, now I want it to look like an oil painting, and then it'll spell out 50 of them, and then you can mark them. So your interaction with the AI can tune out all the background noise of everything that's in like the database, and you can steer it towards, like, I want it to be like an oil painting, or I want it to look like a Matisse painting, or I want it to look like a Picasso's Blue Period. So you as the user can kind of push it. But again, you're just giving it these nudges. You're not actually being the creative person, if that makes any sense.
It does, actually, because even Jason, I've used it for writing, and I've talked about it in the past, and it's spooky how creative AI can be. Like I recently asked it to remake Lord of the Rings as an urban fantasy, as an urban drama, and it just completely made it realistic, and broke down which actor would play, who would direct it, what's on the soundtrack, and I go, wow, we're all screwed. There goes all of our jobs.
Cross comments.
Hey, that's a buddy of ours too.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. He says I tried AI for about half an hour and it didn't come close to producing what I was trying to get it
what
to
I'm
make.
afraid of, though, is it's going to get to the point where, like, you buy a package, right? And let's say I like John Byrne. I love John Byrne artwork. So I buy the John Byrne package, and I put it on my program, and I draw out a stick figure, and I type, thing, and all of a sudden, it's John Byrne's thing, and he's following my skeleton, and then I put a building in the background, and John Byrne, New York. It's like I can see them doing that at some point. And maybe I look at it and go, maybe Byrne is tired today. Let's make it Frank Miller style. And it all changes. Like I can see the computers getting that nasty, like to where they'll be able to look at a style and go, sure, no problem. Which inker? Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Right.
but keep in mind that, like, I love John Byrne, but some of his stories didn't land. But most of them did land, right? So even if some punk out there has the John Byrne AI, if he can't come up with a good story that's going to hold you for the 24 pages and make you want to come back for more, it's just an exercise in, can we do this? Versus look at what we did. This is amazing. And I think that I'm honestly skeptical of that. I don't think any AI is going to be as charming as Jack Kirby as mind blowing a type Hot Wire act as a Grant Morrison, or as mind blowing as like a Alan Moore, right? So
Right.
And if it is, it's only because it's digested their work and it's regurgitating, right?
Yep.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that even if you can get AI to look good, if there isn't a human story in there that can maintain your attention, it's not going to go anywhere.
Kind of comes
The
like
big two will probably shove it out there, but it's not going to go anywhere.
Right.
I'll have to agree with you, Jason. It kind of reminds me of the old kind of overcoming the objection of well, this story was already done, I don't want to write it, or there's something already out there like that. Was then you would say, oh well, nobody could write that story like you can.
Right.
That unique spin, your creative input, your experiences, things that influence the art that you'd make. An AI can't replicate that. An AI hasn't stood at the end of a pier looking at a sunset. You know what I mean?
Harry can't wait for 3D AI to do 3D prints him a new car. That's true.
Can a 3D print me a mortgage payment?
Yeah.
Well, be careful. You mess around with the 3D printer, you get the mighty mascot. So.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's true.
right.
That's true. That's
Be careful.
Yeah, we're almost to the point where we could have the real mighty mascot.
It's
That's
like when
great.
Star Trek became real life over time.
Yeah, right. What's that thing they have that just makes the food? It's like the maker. Is that what it's called?
I thought it was
You know what I'm
There's
talking
an-
about? That
I'm
just
probably
makes
wrong.
the food out of thin air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but yeah, we're almost. To
But it
that
was
point.
awesome. Anything you wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, it was right there. It was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, no,
But if
the
you
AI
think
thing
about
is
it,
both
If
scary.
we ever
and
master
interesting.
atoms and stuff, we can turn air into anything once we figure out how to flip the.
Replicator. That's
Replicator. That's what it was. I was trying to think. I was trying so hard to remember it.
Well, I remember a friend of mine was like, "This Star Trek's such baloney. They got no money." I'm like, "Well, they got the replicator. What do you need money for?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Diana, do you have an opinion on AI artwork or AI in general?
Yeah, I look at it as initially my thought was, well, it's just like another tool, it's just another tool artists can use. But then the more I learned about it, I'm like, well, I'm not so sure it's just another tool. It's like another art form, or at least that's what from my understanding, that is what they are sort of bringing it to the table. Like it's another art form. It's another way to create.
Yeah.
But I don't like the fact that the computer's really doing all the work. You're just learning the program. You're learning how to program so that the computer can do the drawing. So it's not like there's a human person creating, like when Chris draws. Yes, he uses an iPad, but he's literally drawing. It's just instead of paper pencil, he's on an iPad. It's saving trees. So I look at it that way.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, but I don't know.
Vanity.
I know that it's the hot topic, and a lot of
Oh
creators.
God, yeah.
No,
Don't say AI in the middle of a Comic-Con. You'll
right?
you'll probably be
I have a
killed.
question for everybody. Did anybody else feel like she might have everybody here is old enough? Do you remember when sampling first happened in music, like Ice Ice Baby and stuff? Everything she just said, you could have heard in the late 80s when they started really getting into the sampling, because it's the same idea. It's like, people would say, well, you're not really creating, you're just ripping off, Aerosmith when you did Walk This Way, or all the little hits that they had, the little grooves that they sampled. And there was an
also like
argument
that,
that's still creative.
Isn't there's a program I thought on that artists use called SketchUp or something, where it helps create like the backgrounds of a comic or something like that. And it sounds like it's just similar to that kind of thing, like a tool, And I could see using it for like a mannequin for like getting poses for artwork, and where you could kind of copy it or even trace over it if you had to. But I could see it doing that kind of thing. Yeah, someone else in the Roger Morocco said it's clip art on acid. Yeah,
Clip art on acid.
Good.
Yeah, he was actually with me this weekend, and he was there when we were breaking down the AI art with the human artist. It was actually kind of a fun time, and it was just kind of interesting just to see perspective. And he was a younger kid who's just getting started out, but just to see like him taking it on. I was like, this is like the John Henry of Comic Cons.
So he was an AI artist set up.
No. He's a traditional artist taking on AI.
Yeah.
So we rendered it and he sketched it, and we compared it, and he goes, okay, this is not right. This is not right. This doesn't look good. And it was just like it was like the old John Henry man versus machine kind of thing. That's kind of how I compared it.
Oh wow, okay.
Hey, did you guys ever find any IA that draws hands yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, can they do it well? Like,
They all do it messed up.
Some artists can't draw feet, and we won't say who or why.
yeah, or do a good perspective,
Right.
It was always my kryptonite whenever I drew anything. But yeah, no, it's interesting times, that's for sure. I really don't see it overtaking real artists, though. I think there'll always be people that want real art and real soul behind the pencil and the typewriter and everything.
I guess the hope is that the new talent coming up, the kids, don't get sucked into it. Like, because if they get tricked into it being some sort of tool in their mind, they might never pick up a pencil and master it. That's
the scary part of it. I think definitely.
Well, it's like we don't use an abacus anymore, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, guys, crayons are important with your children.
I think if anything, they'll still be. You might get creative people using it still, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't want traditional to just go away.
No.
Ultimately, it's going to be, will the consumers buy? Will the readers buy it? Right.
That's the thing. Yeah.
So you know that Marvel and DC have a bunker and a secret laboratory where they're trying to replace their people with ChatGPT and you know that they're doing that, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Now the question is at first it'll be like, this is our imprint of AI books, and we're going to use our biggest characters, and we'll see if they'll buy it. And then if people buy it, then they will fire all those people, and then they'll go completely AI. And then the people who are living people will have to go join the crowdfunders and the indies, right? And then, so ultimately, it won't go anywhere unless the readers buy it. So it is ultimately up to the readers. But if Marvel and DC could cut their royalties, because they wouldn't have to pay royalties anymore, and they wouldn't have to pay page rates. If they could do that today, absolutely they'd do it. They're jerks.
Yeah.
So it's up to the readers. They'll have to decide what they want to buy.
Yeah, and that's where
I'm with you there on that one, Jason. I think that we can see past the bullshit, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I agree with that.
It'll never be able to be like contemporary. It'll never know the vibe of the nation or the world or the marketing that you're doing. Like, some of that comes off a human spirit. It's not based on what people say is a good idea or what a marketing team says. A creator will get a hunch, like the Mighty Mascots, and they'll put it out there, and suddenly they'll be like, wow, people will read this. This is cool. And they're all getting into it, right? I mean, when we put our ideas out there, it's a little bit like a risk, but if you're a creator and it hits, then you know what's going on. Whereas an AI, I don't think it can do that. Maybe it can. I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah. Harry says all it takes is a massive solar flare and everybody will be doing traditional work again.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's like EMP save us from the AI.
Yeah, right?
EMP save us.
Awesome.
Well, that's how you know it's not real art, in the sense that if they lost all power, they can't create anything.
I need another trigger effect.
I was just going
that movie.
The AI and the EMP
You've
got
been
Johnny,
talking
guys.
about AI way too long.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, so
I cut out, so I lost what everybody said.
We've been just on tangents all night. You guys are here to promote books.
I want to feature some real talented people.
Yeah, something that AI could learn from, two actual creators here.
Right, exactly.
So the first thing I noticed on both your books, because I kind of looked over both crowdfunding campaigns, they both seem to have a little bit of a sci-fi kind of vibe to it. Would you say, or I don't know? And they're both, like, I know, Chris, you're kind of dipping into the manga kind of circle with yours,
Yes, yes. I'm dipping into basically 70s, 80s, and 90s cartoons that were localized for the West. And one of the it's hard to explain, but one of the concepts of it is the misunderstanding that I, as a Westerner, had of all these different projects because they were localized terribly. So I didn't really know what was happening in the Japanese version versus the English
Oh well,
version.
yeah. Like, and I know you're probably referring to something like Battle of the Planets, right? Where
Oh,
they,
that's a big one, yeah.
yeah, where they cut out a lot of stuff and they added Seven Zark Seven in
And you
to
have,
like
as an
fill in
American, a
the
whole
blanks.
different vision of what it should be, and then you're like, what, and you start hearing the Japanese stuff, and it feels foreign to you, and really you're the one who's dealing with the foreign input. But there is a lot of sci-fi in it. There's some mysticism,
There's a
taken
superhero
basically.
too, superhero kind of angle to it.
Yeah, well, that's the Super Sentai type approach. But like a lot of the anime and manga I've looked at in recent years is very inspired by like the demons are in it, and demons. So I have demons in ours, and like instead of looking for like a Doctor Doom or a Doc Ock or something like that, I just turn to the monsters of lore. It's like, yeah, you got demons and they got henchmen that are monsters, and yeah, I've got just like the Power Rangers, I've got a whole host of monsters now that I can fight.
Yeah, demons
Um,
seem to be the new flavor with manga. Usually it
yeah,
flips every few years. For a while, it was like Western stuff, and and
I
then
can see how you can convert it. Like that's the thing. Like manga just seems so flexible. They can do anything they want. Where it's like the comics that I've been producing till now are kind of in a formulaic, structure. So Mangai represents a lot of breaks in that, particularly in the story. And I'm having just a blast putting this together. It's
awesome. That's great to hear.
sci-fi, like you asked. I'm babbling now. Please go on.
No.
How about you, Jason? Give us a little bit. What kind of your books looks like? Kind of like a superhero sci-fi kind of thing too. Is it inspired by manga at all, or
No, no real manga influences. It's more rooted in like Silver Age,
okay?
Silver Age comics. So basically, Jupiter is it's a hero's journey of this teen girl. She's in a world just like ours where there's no superheroes, but they read comic books, and so within Jupiter they read this Jack Kirby 1970. They read this Jack Kirby character called Captain Kleinbottle. So he's the comic within the comic, and he
Okay.
later becomes the inspiration for some of the things that happen. But basically, it's a normal world, and a hole in reality opens up due to a revolution in a neighboring dimension. So the events of this revolution spill into our world, and they collided with this family. Now, this family is on a family vacation at a cabin because they're dealing with a family tragedy. I don't tell you what the tragedy is, but if you read Jupiter, you can see there's a couple panels you can figure out what happened to them as a family, and it should be a shocking thing. And so they're going to a cabin, just going to clear their minds, reset their lives. And on a hike, this hole in reality opens up. This revolution spills into their world, which is a normal world. And from that event, this young girl who is unhappy wants to like run away from home. She suddenly has the ability to go anywhere. She can go anywhere, or she can stay and fight because as a consequence of what happens, the need arises for her to become a hero and initially act in self-defense and then begin to defend others. And so, as the stakes rise incrementally, she begins to decide, I need a weapon. This new ability that I have, I need to weaponize it. If I'm going to weaponize it, how can I use it? When is it right to use it? And the whole time she's like, I should just get the hell out of here. This is crazy. I don't have to, if I just leave, I don't have to do homework ever again. I don't have to get a job. I can just go, right? So she's torn between fight and flight. And that's her hero's journey. And the stakes will continue to rise as she eventually becomes effectively a superhero. The first and only superhero in a world that doesn't have superheroes except for in the comic book. So that's basically what Jupiter's about.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. I like the concept, and I like the hero's journey. I'm like a sucker for that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm looking at
classic hero's journey story.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm looking at. I'm going to bring up the campaign here too. So we'll take a look at both of them. But like, just looking at your main image here, I can see the Kirby dots and the comic part. Definitely looks like a character that could have been Jack Kirby's, something from like the Fourth World or something,
Yeah.
Totally inspired by that. That's what it looks like. Were you inspired by the Fourth World at all? Or I mean, Kirby, obviously, right?
Yeah, I know. I love the Fourth World. That character there on the right, his name is Captain Kleinbottle, and in the world of Jupiter, and this is in the world of Jupiter. Back in 1953, when Simon and Kirby started mainline comics, they had 4 titles. They had like a Western, a romance, and like a war book. In the world of Jupiter, they had a 5th book about an astronaut. It was kind of like Sky Masters. He was Captain Kleinbottle. So it starts out as a normal astronaut. He goes up, and then things happen, right? And then it becomes like a sci-fi book. And in the world of Jupiter, it does so well that Kirby never has to go back to Marvel. So all of the crazy, and again, this is fictional, but in my comic book, all of the great ideas that Kirby had and all his creativity happens at mainline comics, and he owns it all, and he becomes like a Walt Disney in this world because he doesn't have to go back and work for Marvel, doesn't get taken advantage of.
Oh, wow.
So he's like he's like the Walt Disney of this world, and his character Captain Kleinbottle, because he's dislocated from time. Because if you look at a Kleinbottle, it doesn't have an outside. If you just Google Kleinbottle sometime, and it'll make sense. But the point is that Captain Kleinbottle goes through all these different phases and different time loops. So all the different kinds of characters. Sometimes he's a street level. He's a street level hero like a Daredevil. Other times he's out in space and so forth. Sometimes he's like a detective. The point is that all the different heroic things that Kirby would do are within this Captain Kleinbottle's timeline. So all the characters everybody loves Captain Kleinbottle, and you can see here the characters like read about him, and he's going to kind of point the way as they determine, hey, this world doesn't have superheroes. We now have these amazing abilities and these amazing threats, and they keep escalating. How are we going to respond? And that's what brings this girl to become a superhero. And kind of guides her journey.
That's very cool. Like, especially these images look like they're ripped right out of a Kirby comic.
Such a love letter to Kirby. And this reminds me of Nandor Fox's book.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah,
it reminds me so much of that.
Okay.
Man-Child.
Throw it in the chat. I'll have to research it. So I've got a trailer. It's just a couple minutes long. The music is copyright. I've licensed the music through Adobe Stock. Do you want to play the
I definitely want to
roll it. Let's check it out.
I definitely want to check it out. I do want to comment. This is great. This page is perfect.
Yes,
Kirby.
so eye-catching.
The way so much motion in his figures and the fighting and everything. Let's take a look at the trailer here. Hang on, let me I know I enabled the sound here, but let's make us full screen here. That way we can. There we go.
So if he doesn't buy a crappy book, his score goes up because he's saving money.
Great trailer, dude.
That was good.
That was
Good,
fun.
good job on that, man.
It was fun. That
So
was
I
good.
I grew up watching Thundar and the Hercules and stuff like that, and obviously Spider-Man is Amazing Friends, and like I always wanted to do animation, right? But I didn't have the time. So the great thing was because I did. So Jupiter was a lot of fun. It took me like it was great, right? But then last summer, I was like, man, I gotta promote this thing. I gotta make animated clips, and I'm like, I get to make animation. So I finally had a legit excuse to learn how to do animation. So I took the artwork from the book and I put it into Adobe Animate. I took because I work in Photoshop and Adobe Fresco, so I had everything in layers.
Yeah.
So I was able to learn Adobe Animate, bring it all in there, and move it around. And I tell you, I had as much fun doing these clips as I did making the comic book. And I did like a promo thing for the show tonight. It's just fun, right? And I never thought I'd be able to do animation, but I finally had an excuse to, put a couple weekends in to figure out how to do
I love
it. So it was fun. It was just
That's
a
really
good time.
cool.
It's so that I loved it because I don't know quite what I was watching sometimes. I feel like it was like a heavy metal-esque kind of in some parts,
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
or
wild and out there. Like it
Twilight
makes you
Zone.
wonder what this book is, like I'm assuming that all those clips kind of tie together somehow, correct?
Yeah. So Jupiter is 40 pages for $10.
Okay.
The main
That's a-
story is 24 pages.
Yeah.
And then there's a 3-page short story, a 4-page short story, and some 1-page gag strips.
Okay.
So some of the stuff that was like the Twilight Zone stuff, that's a single page strip. The Hourglass in the House, that's a single page strip.
Gotcha.
So and the idea is that there's variety, right? There's basically variety in there. But the scenes of the dinosaur smashing in the castle, that's the revolution that leads to
Okay,
what
yeah.
happens in the real world, right?
Awesome. Yeah. This looks good, man. It looks fun. And I see you already made your goal, which is great.
Yeah.
And
congrats
definitely.
on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
24 days left, so there's nowhere
Yep.
to go but more up,
And
so
I do have a stretch goal. So at the very bottom, if you could play, there's a clip at the bottom that has the stretch
yeah,
goal.
let me take a look.
So right now we're at 1,400
Okay.
on day 6, and if we get to 5,000 by if we hit 5,000, it's a bit further down. Keep going. There we go. So this is the $5,000 stretch goal. It's going to be this that character Captain Klein bottle.
Okay.
All the backers are going to get a fan club membership card if we can get to 5,000. So just a couple of seconds, go ahead and play it.
Oh, very cool. Almost like a like you get like a membership in like a club or something, right?
Exactly.
That's real cool.
Very fun.
And Keith, I figure you would dig it, right? Because it kind of gets to the whole like, just the little knickknacks and the kind of the world building and stuff like that. So this is the membership card.
Yeah,
It's 24-point PVC, and it's got like a rocket ship on the back. But basically, and part of the joke is that if you look at the membership card, the dates are 2023 to 1953. So the membership goes back in time because the guy's dislocated from time. and then the sponsor is a pie company because all the best comics in the 70s had the Hostess pie ads.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's great. And then so anyways, so I've manufactured these already, and
That's awesome.
I sure hope we get to 5,000. But I look forward to sending this out. And then another thing that's kind of fun is if you back the book at the cheapest tier, you get the book and you get a non-prize. So
Oh, non-prize. That's great.
not,
Yeah.
I know. So not to be confused with a no prize. This is a non-prize, so it's better than a no prize. And I'm not. And can you make me full screen?
Oh yeah, yeah. Hang on. Yeah.
So I think there's like 80 of these left. At the $10 level, you get the you get the comic book, and you get a free non-prize. Not to be confused
Okay.
with a no prize. Now, I'm not going to do any false advertising. Okay, it is genuinely a non-prize. There's a freaking nothing in there. But,
Okay.
it's a cool, but you're going to get a non-prize, and then on the back, if you get the non-prize, in true comic book fashion, you've got a bad guy telling you, you may have won, but I'm going to win in the end, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is $10. $10. Now, the other thing, one of the problems in modern comics is the scam of the variant covers. Can you
Yep.
make me full screen again, sir?
Yeah. What do you got?
So again, you go to the comic book shop and you go to get the newest issue from Marvel and DC. It's freaking variant covers. It's a scam, right? I'm not all about that, but I'm about giving you variant covers. Now here's how. So this is Jupiter. Boom, variant cover.
Classic.
So you get two covers with the one issue. Buy one comic, get two covers. The alternate covers an homage to that Captain Kleinbottle character. $10. Come on.
Yeah.
You may think I'm crazy for doing a 40-page comic for $10. You're crazy if you don't back it.
Yeah. No.
Amen to
Go ahead, Johnny. What are you gonna say?
I was just saying, amen to that. You know, like 40 pages, $10. You know, that's a value.
Yeah, just wanted to look at your tiers real quick. So the basic level is the book, which is $10 plus shipping.
Yep. There's 80 left. Get them while they're hot.
And then the Skybolt, that's you get the print, you get a postcard portfolio. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, if you scroll down the main part of the page, there's a little 10-second clip about the postcard portfolio. What it is it's 7 paintings that I've done in the style of Jack Kirby. I did them a couple of years back, and I created postcards. So go ahead and play that. It's like 10 seconds.
Fire it up.
I tacked that on the back of the thing, so you don't have to play that again. But
yeah, no, that's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
This looks great.
The and for the postcard portfolio, there's 7 paintings that I did. They're originally 24 by 30. They're now postcard size. You get 2 each of the 7. So one to put on the fridge, one to send to your friend. Your friend's gonna say, "What the hell is this?" But hey, this is cool. And then it comes in an envelope that I had printed with my logo, and it's got a quote by Aldous Huxley. So that's in the $20 and the $30 tier. The $30 tier, you get the comic book, the non-prize, the portfolio, and then you get a challenge coin. And I had 100 some of these minted. And there's a little video.
Wow.
There's a little video of the and again, it looks like it's metal. It's not really gold, but it looks gold. But at the bottom, there's a little video of the challenge coin.
No chocolate in there, Jason. Like
no chocolate. Don't kids don't bite this. You'll break a tooth.
Yeah.
Choking hazard.
Look at that. That's a cool idea. I never thought about doing something like that, like a challenge coin, like a medallion. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, that's the main character. She's the one that's going to go on the heroic journey.
Yeah.
And then you can pause that.
Same preview again.
And then so some other people have done challenge coins. I like the idea because doing a whole comic book, it's a slog, and it feels like you've gone. I mean, I'm not saying it's like going to war, but it is like such an effort to get the whole book done, especially if you're doing all the parts. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna commemorate this. And then so that's the $30 tier, and then the $40 tier, that is a retailer's tier. So I want to get this in the hands of readers, and I'm very fortunate. I've always had good LCS owners. Okay. They've always been good to me. They've always given me discounts. They've always watched out for me. So I've got a retailer tier for $40. You can get 8 issues, so basically half off, and then I heavily subsidize the shipping. So my goal is to get this out in the world. Eventually, I'll go to Diamond with the overprint, and I'll solicit it through Diamond. But if you're a retailer and you want to get your hands on this, there is that retailer tier. So I would ship it when I fulfill all the regular books for the campaign, so you could get ahead of it being in previews. But basically, 8 issues for $40, half off. And then if you're a retailer and you bag it and mark it up $20, I don't care. It's yours. You're hurting. I know you're hurting. You're being given this unsellable product by the big two. So this is me saying I want you to connect me with readers, make an extra buck. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, I like that. I like where your head's at. Now is this a one shot or is this you're gonna do more of this?
I'm gonna do more of this because this is just that character's beginning of her journey.
Okay.
I have 20 issues. I've got a binder over there. I've got
plan.
20 issues of this series where I've gone through a second draft of the script and I've got thumbnails. So
Okay.
I'm not going to do a Jar Jar Abrams where it's like a Lost thing where it looks really cool, but then it's got no ending, or like his Star Wars sequels where it looks really cool, but there's no ending. I've got a good ending for it, great arcs. The stakes continue to escalate, and
Awesome.
I've got good guardrails on my story. So if a character becomes like a fan favorite, I can put more scenes. I can put them in more scenes, kind of play that up. But by and large, I've got a great story and a great arc, and but I've got guardrails but no handcuffs, so I can be creative. I can move things around, but I'm not winging it. I have a great ending in mind, and if you take this journey with me, I guarantee you're going to be happy with the. You're going to be mad at me periodically because of the plot twists, but you will be glad. You will be glad you take this journey with me. So I recommend people back Jupiter #1, 40
Get it on
pages,
the ground.
$10. You get
Yeah.
a non-price, and I guarantee you that this is the beginning of a great journey.
Awesome. Yeah. Great on the ground floor. That's awesome. Yeah. So and then Chris, Diana, you guys got something going on too, don't you?
We do. We do.
Let me bring up your campaign.
Yeah,
as well.
let's roll that footage, or let's roll that campaign.
All right. So you guys just started.
I have
doing
a 20-minute. I have a 20-minute trailer there.
Is it
No, I'm only
really
teasing.
20 minutes?
I think it might be a minute. But yeah,
Okay.
Let's roll it. Might as well show it. Let's do it.
I gotta say I like this dude right here, the one that you use on your.
That's Man Guy.
Yeah,
That is Man Guy.
He looks like classic like Shogun Warrior kind of.
Yeah.
Force 5
kind of
era
Force
kinda
5,
stuff.
yeah.
It is a great
Force
design.
5, little Power Ranger-esque.
Yeah, I love it. All right, yeah, let's
you
play
guys
the
are
trailer
nailing
here.
it. Yeah.
All right, hang on. Let me let's make it big here. Awesome. This looks great.
Sorry about that. You know what? I like heavy metal, but I didn't realize how common that sounds. Like
No,
every
I
thought
song
it was
was
really
really
bad.
Yes, I was
great.
like, this is kick ass.
Oh,
good.
Is that,
Loved it.
Is
What's
that
that?
like a real song, or did you like have someone make that for you?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Creator Secret. Go to YouTube Audio Library in the Creator Suite, and they have tons of free music.
Oh,
And if you've
wow.
got
Oh, you can
patience to
just
sit
pull it.
through, yeah, if you got patience to sit through it, they let you download it and use it for free in your videos, copyright free and everything.
Oh,
wow.
Most of
cool.
them without attrition. So
Oh, wow.
I sat for like, I don't know, ask Diana. Some days it's like 4
Mhm.
hours. I'm listening to like track after
Yeah,
track after
That's right
track.
here out of the studio.
Uh,
Yeah.
And
hey,
I mean, you
that's,
find one and then you go with it.
do you have
Yep.
to just credit the artist or something to
Not
to
even
use
if
it?
if there's some that ask for it, and then there's some that say you don't bother.
They
It's
don't
no,
They're
yeah,
like,
just
here
do
you
it.
go.
Just go.
Like
That's
free
cool.
clip art kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
great.
it's just artists trying to get their stuff out there. So I'm like, okay, I'll use it, and I'm sure they have like an algorithm that says, "Hey, Hero Shack just used your song," and they go, "Oh, all right, what is this?" You know, like
Yeah.
they look at it like a comic book. What?
You had a
But
great animated trailer too. Is that something that
Yeah, it was
you've
pretty
been
cool.
learning to do?
actually, no, it's Procreate, and it's really kind of like he was saying. I was just sliding stuff around in a frame by frame
Gotcha.
type deal.
Yeah.
I would love to animate, but oh gosh, like creating comics, like this book here is 4 issues, 120 pages in this release, and it's because I can't seem to work on a project without doing 100 to 120 pages anymore. Like I just go and go and go, and Diana's like, "So when are you going to launch this?" And I'm like, "Ah."
The one that-
But she's keeping you on track though,
Yeah.
right? I mean, come on now.
So
Yeah.
it was funny though, like it's 4 issues because last year I got a Mortal Mask by Denali Press. If you haven't seen it, give it a shot. But it came in 3 issues instead of like a graphic novel of just one big. And I really enjoyed having to put down issue 1 and pick up issue 2 and put down issue 2 and pick up issue 3. And it's the same thing actually that I get from Mighty Mascots, because whenever I see
Oh,
Keith,
thanks, man.
I've always bought 2 or 3 of your books. So it's
Yeah.
that same feeling, like there's something about not just turning pages for 100 pages, but picking up your next issue and looking at the cover and going through it, and so this one I did in 4 books, plus we have an ash can with all sorts of details about the ins and outs of the story. It does have spoilers, that's why there's redactions there.
Oh, okay.
And when the reader receives it, we're going to warn them, you might want to read this after you read the series, but otherwise, yeah, it's going to be a great little way to tie up all the confusing things, because there's always something people go, I didn't catch that. Well, here you go, this will help.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm just scrolling through, Chris. Like
Yes, sir.
I think you nailed like like that era of like that. I don't even know what you call it. It's anime, but it was
It's
like
anime, but not quite.
Americanized.
Yeah,
You know, it was-
that's actually because I couldn't quite get there. Like, I can't wipe out all my Westernese. It keeps coming out.
It's like
But-
manga with a Western flair to it.
Yeah,
Because
no,
like
but
some
it
of our
works.
kids,
That's
like,
what those cartoons were too. You know, if
Exactly.
you think
Yeah.
about it.
Well, you remember that library show we did, and we were talking about the Great Cyclopean. I said I want to do something anime.
Yo,
Yeah.
yes.
This is that product coming out of my mind, and it's a ton of fun. It's a lot of character development, which is something new for me. I like to do a lot of action on the run stuff. This has a lot of by the time the teens become the heroes for the first time, you will have emotions for each one.
Yeah.
You'll care.
And I see you must have picked up that Nate Pico's book, right? That I
Yes,
recommended?
I have it. No, man, it's part of my library now.
Yeah, the lettering, like, doesn't it like when you start reading that book, you like, oh my god, this is a whole world, like,
It expands your mind on what else you can do.
Yeah.
right? Doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
you start thinking of lettering as part of the overall design of the comic book page, and not just word balloons and
Yeah, not just stuff you splatter on. It's like, how can I make this? Like
Yeah.
on page
It's
1
part
of
of the
Manga
art. It becomes
Yoshokin.
part of the art. It becomes
Yeah,
the,
definitely.
the
If you do
design
it-
of the page.
Yep, I agree.
Well,
Like,
page 1 of Manga Yoshokin has a series of narration boxes.
Yeah.
And if you look, they're actually set up like a question mark. I don't think it's actually on here. You have to.
This is like my favorite image, I think. so
Yeah,
far.
I love
really
that
like
that one there.
This nails.
That's
like,
actually it's not actually from the book. That's one of the concept drawings.
okay.
But
Still, awesome.
we had a critique of the page before we launched, and the guy said, you really need to have something where you're showing all your soldiers there, you know, all your heroes.
Yeah.
So
I agree
I
with
grabbed this and I put it up there, but I do have better stuff. It's just there's a perfection process. Like issue 4 right now is in the oven. Like we're looking at it and I'm tweaking it, and I don't want to release stuff until it's really baked. But like, so I use this, but in the coming weeks I'll be showing more. Can you see? Let's see that first page.
Oh yeah, hang on.
Keith, can we bring him? Yeah, there we go.
Hang on.
So see how it's got like that question mark going on?
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's things like that, like subliminal little things that you put in your books when you're lettering. So yeah, it's been a blast doing that, and a lot of it has to do with the book.
Harry's saying he swears to God he saw Gene Simmons in that clip somewhere. Did you see Gene Simmons in that clip?
Yeah, well,
That's great.
In that clip, you saw a series of clowns, and the thing about them is they're not actually clowns. I'll tell you and the viewers, since we're not in the thousands, so this isn't that big of a give. But the clowns that you saw are actually balloons, and there's a demonic clown in a clown car who just keeps blowing them up. Now these balloons are full of demonic breath that come to life inside the balloons and go out and start causing havoc, but they're really not that tough. If you take a pin to them, they pop and they smell bad. But this demon keeps blowing them up, and it's kind of taken off the joke of how many clowns can you fit in a clown car? Well, they just keep coming, and they're messing up the castle pretty bad. And this is why. So yeah, you probably did see something that looked quite a bit like Gene Simmons, because you know, Kiss are some of the most popular clowns of all time. I love Kiss.
I was gonna say I like
cool.
this creature too. Like
he's probably my favorite character.
Yeah, like the anime always had like that cute little.
I love his feet.
Creature.
His feet goes through him. I'm like
the feet and the weird arms and the eyes. Yeah,
and he's super basic. Honestly, he was created to be a super basic character because my beloved loves super basic cute.
No, you need like that cutesy little kid character. Like, I mean, every cartoon, Saturday morning cartoon, had that formula. You know,
looks like something that like from like Herculoids or something. You know?
Yeah. You need like.
Well, once we got the stupid big black-eyed puppy dog look going, I was like, all right, this is what it will look like. Because I knew we were going to have dodo balls, which is what they're called, or punch puppies, which are their street name.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure what it was developing a look, and the rounder it got, the more she was like, oh, and I was like, all right.
Yeah,
all right,
it's honestly, if we are hoping, you know, obviously that the comic book takes off, because it is the thought that we will make plushies out of them.
Yeah, she just said that. Amy just said that.
Yeah, Amy just said they'd be cute, and that's what we said. We're like, oh my goodness, they would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be kind of an easy plushie to do, I think.
Exactly.
You know,
that's why I'm investigating that.
Yeah, you should. That's this. I think that this opens up a lot of possibilities here, and you're drawing. Chris, your artwork is getting stronger with each comic. I think.
Oh, brother, you know, with all the competition out there, you guys. When I hung around you guys, I was like humbled. I was like, I got to get better. I got to get better.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just like anatomy and finish and stuff. I mean creativity. You know, like I look at you guys and I'm like, oh yeah, keep towing that line, brother. I'm coming with you. You know, like the rising tide lifts all ships, but you got to
absolutely
sure your anchor isn't stuck on the bottom. You got to bring that anchor up so you can rise with it. You know. So I appreciate it. It's just, there's so much great stuff out there. You always want to improve.
That's the thing. You just go through any of the crowdfunding sites and you'll see tons of great books.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot.
I gotta be honest with hang on, I'm reading your name because I want to get it right. Jason. Bro, I was humbled. That was a great presentation. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like your presentation makes me think about my next trailer and go, I could do better. That was so cool what he just did. And I don't mean copying you. I mean just putting in that effort. It looks so good, bro.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
Being amongst the creative mind, it is invigorating in that sense. Like even I was saying, coming back from C2E2,
Yeah, you
I just
feel
I just
invigorated.
felt so invigorated with creative energy.
Yeah.
Can you scroll down, Keith?
Yeah, definitely.
Tell
me when to
pause
stop.
right there. Well, go up just a little bit.
Just looking at
a
that.
little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit further. Okay. The part right there. That page composition
This one.
with the castle and then the underground and the establishing shot and that's a great page.
Yeah.
That's a great page right there because
And one of the things that I want to add that you can't really tell on the campaign is that one of the things I think that Chris is hopefully going to be known for is when he does his drawings, a lot of times you have to really look at the drawing because there are other things
What's going
within
on
the picture.
there?
There are
Yeah.
other
Well, I put
like,
faces and things, and
there's faces, and it's the coolest thing. Like obviously,
Sure.
as his wife, I get to see it first up. I'm like, holy cow, Chris, that's so cool. And every one of his comics, I think, so far he has at least a page or there's something in there that you look again. I'm like, wait, I didn't see that before. Which
I always do something somewhere. Like, yeah, it's like I've always loved the artwork where you look and it's a mountainside, but then you look a little closer and you realize it's a lady sitting on her side, or
Yeah.
those trick pictures. So if there's something you can slide something in and it's not going to distract from the story, but a kid that's going to look at it a dozen times is suddenly going to go, whoa, there's a skull in the mountain,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, something real cool like that.
Yeah.
Or like I remember just certain artists, like you would sit there with the pages for I would look at them for a while, like it would take me like hours to go through an issue, but I would look like, especially like something like Kingdom Come, and that's something at the top of my head with some of those Alex Ross pages with the backgrounds and
those Marvels issues were just
insane,
unbelievable to look at because they were like photorealistic,
Crazy.
Well, and you got me thinking Kirby tonight, the machines.
Oh,
Kirby's machines. I could stare at all day long, man.
We'll watch those Crest commercials after we.
Yeah.
I mean, those things were incredible for the time, And I mean, it was better than Kirby. I mean, Kirby's unbelievable.
Well, they don't call him King for nothing.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Love his stuff.
If you had to recommend a tier for people, which one would you point people to?
So if you're broke, go for the $10 PDF. That's all 4 issues. If you can, and if you can splurge a little, go for all 4 issues.
And the 35.
That's 35, and it's the experience that I really want to get out of Man Guy because it's issue by issue. There is
and you said you're already working on 4, right? So you got
4 is done. I'm polishing it.
Oh, gotcha. So all 4 issues are done. Wow.
Yeah. So what's going to happen next is we'll go through that process. Really, I'm appreciating the 60-day campaign because it's going to give me time to go back and look at it, because that's one thing Man Guys really benefit from versus everything else we've ever done. Yeah. Usually I produce it and publish it because I wanted to experience creating comics as quick as possible, like the big guys used to, like Kirby used to, monthly issues.
I mean, the amount of output Kirby had is unheard of today.
So with Man Guy, it's a little different because I started this back in August. And so I sat on issue 1 instead of rushing it out. And then little things popped up and I said, I can tweak that. I can redraw that panel. I can color that a little better. And now that's been the process. So if I was to release it right now, 4 would look a little weird because it hasn't gone through that full going back and going.
Yeah, it's nice to finish something and put it away for a month or 2.
Yeah, or even a few weeks if you have, just whatever you can do. And then you go back and sometimes you go, holy cow, I can't believe I did that. But then there's always something where you're like, you're going to call that a hand? You're
look over his shoulder and I'll say, what's that supposed to be?
What were you going to say, Jason?
Everybody has that experience of you looking at a word, you stare at a word, and you lose the gestalt, and it's like, what word is it? Is this a word? It looks really, just stare at anything for too long. And as artists, we're looking at the same page for hours and hours. So it is extremely important to you do the pencil layer, move on to the next page. Don't look at it for a couple of days, and then look at it with fresh eyes. because
Yeah.
otherwise you're gonna miss stuff, and then you're going through the process of building the page, and you're too familiar with it. So
Yep.
you're right. It is great, and like you use that term, it's still in the oven. It is so. I think it's so important to is to cycle the work on this, whatever works on your drawing board or your iPad. You got to cycle it, because if you start it too long, it stops making sense.
Yeah,
Or-
like that road blind.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
definitely.
Exactly.
And I always know too, after I finish lettering a page,
Mhm.
I always go, I know that I don't love how that laid out. And then I go back to it months later and try to figure out how to
Right.
make it the best it can be, you know? So
And don't forget Rob Liefeld. Jim Lee called Rob Liefeld and said, "Are you sure this Captain America? You're sure you want me to turn this Captain America picture into a poster? You're sure?" And Rob's like, "Yeah. No, it's all done. Are you sure you don't want to look at it again, Rob?" And Rob's like, "No,
everyone
it's
knows
done. It's all good. Go, I
exactly
gotta go on the
which.
next page, right?" And you know exactly which Captain America picture I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it's haunted him since. So yeah, you gotta not look at it, and then look at it again, and
Yeah.
make sure you're ready to that it passes your final.
Yeah,
inspection.
you don't want something to haunt you for the rest of your life, basically. That's
Yeah,
that's the Tales from the Crypt ending there.
Yeah.
So on a quick note, we are doing a hardcover this time.
Oh, you are.
Oh,
That's
cool.
actually going to be an 8.5 by 11 hardcover, and
at
in the
this.
columns, because the comic book is a little smaller,
Yeah.
I'm going to print that 100%. But in the side columns, I'm going to put notes,
Mhm.
insider stuff. You know, like this was inspired by that, or this relates
Oh,
to that. You
wow.
know,
Nice.
and it'll be fun. Even if no one orders one, I'm ordering a bunch of them because I want them myself.
Yeah, Chris, can you give a referral as to where you're getting the hardcovers printed?
Yes, I'm getting them all through Amazon, dude. That's where I always print
Oh,
to.
cool.
Now Amazon will cost you a little bit more than like your local printer,
Mhm.
but the reason it's good for us, and it's still good for us, is it's flexible. If we get 1,000 orders, we're going to pay a little more than if we were at the local printer.
Yeah.
But
we
I
know
don't have a garage full of books that are not sold.
right.
So
And if you only
Right,
sell,
You
right.
don't have to like.
we're
put
still
all-
a small
you don't
time
have to
company.
buy like 5,000 copies.
Exactly.
well, and if you only sell 100, you only buy 100, and then you get whatever you want for the convention runs. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So hardcovers were my best seller this past weekend at C2E2.
Interesting, yeah.
90% of my sales was hardcovers.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I gotta start
So it's our
thinking
first
about
time
some-
with the hardcover, so we'll see how that goes. But one of the tiers I want to talk about is the prize books for kids.
Yeah, let me go down to
Oh,
that
let's
one.
check
I
that
saw
out.
I was gonna ask
So
you guys what that
the
was.
prize
Okay.
books for kids, right? What is this all about? Well, one thing
You guys have actually seen it.
We have?
Yeah,
Was it
we've
at the-
seen it in action. Go ahead, tell them, Diana.
so
Refresh my memory.
okay, so at our comic book fest last October, Chris sat there and gave away books, lots and lots of comic books, because
Okay.
my husband, instead of selling things, he gives them away. If I leave the table, he will be giving things away. I kid you not. I come back. How much? Well, he was so cute. This guy came up and he only had $5, and I just said, here, take it. So we put this here so that Chris could give away books for kids. So
Okay.
I don't know about you guys, but I would really love to see the younger generation start reading comic books, because as you know, they're not really reading comic books. So
Yeah.
what better way to get them to start reading is to be able to give them a comic book. So the
So
prize-
you purchase this and you'll be
we-
able to give books away
Yes.
to kids?
So
Okay.
what happens is we created a tier that, let's say we have family members that don't read comics.
Okay.
So they can give $30, support our campaign. We will take those books to our next our first big show is New England. It's Kids Con. Okay.
Okay.
in
Okay.
May. So we already have a person that purchased it. So we're going to go with those free books. I'm a very interactive table. So because I'm not a comic book creator, I'm more of a writer.
Go on.
I'm doing a wheel, a spinning
I've seen the
and they
wheel.
get to win the prizes. But
That's
what's
right. The wheel. I do remember that.
Remember the wheel? So the books, we ask the people who have purchased the set, is it okay if we use your first name? And what I do is when the child wins the book, I will take the child's name if the parent is okay, or the initial or whatever. And I email after the event, say, we gave your books away to all of these children and they're so thankful. So
Oh,
it's
cool.
just, it's just another way to help my husband give away
So
free comics.
it's a way to support you guys and
It's a
for the
way to
people that
support
don't
us.
comics.
Exactly.
And
Chris-
She knows
Don't-
if we don't get books to give away, I will still give away books. So she's
Yes.
So you're gonna cover
Try
the
to-
cost.
Don't feel bad. Over the weekend, same thing happened. There was a father who came up to the table, and the kid was dressed like Negan, so he was definitely very much a horror fan.
Yeah.
And he goes, let me look at this. And he goes, he bought Surrounded by Death because it was, he saw it was kind of Mallrats meets The Walking Dead was the flavor.
Yeah.
And then, as they're checking out, they're looking at, my table mates books. He came up to me, he was asking questions and stuff. He goes, "Oh, I want to be a director and I want to make horror movies." And he had such creative aspiration. I turn around and I turn to the father, I go, "He really likes horror, doesn't he?" He goes, "Oh, he loves it. He read all of The Walking Dead." And I goes, I had to give him 2 extras. So I gave him The Pond, which is a little bit more of my mature horror story, but I think he could handle it. If he's reading Walking Dead, he could read that. And I was like, I gave him 2 for free just because I was hoping to let him ride that wave of creative juice that he had going. You know what I mean?
Give him the support a little bit,
Give him a little nudge,
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Well,
That's awesome.
Jason mentioned meeting Dan Jurgens, and I got to be honest with you guys. I met Jurgens back when I was 17 in a local comic book shop signing, and that has always stuck with me. And even though I don't really know him well, like I know Booster Gold and some of his career,
right?
Did you meet him at
remember
Matt's
meeting him,
Entertainment?
and that was always like something that sticks with you. And like Johnny, that kid will remember you 20 years from now. He'll be like, "You see, the guy who gave me the books." Yeah.
Yeah. I just hope they come back next year to the table and make a purchase.
Right.
The first creator I ever met was JMT Mateus, and it was funny. It was like his actually, and I've connected with him, and it was like his only ever Minnesota appearance. It was there was this string of shops called Schindler's, and they did tobacco, magazines, comics, and adult stuff in the back, right? But it was. So I was a fan of Captain America and some of his other stuff. So this is the first time, there was a flyer saying, "Hey, JMT Mateus is going to be here." And so I go there, and he was so cool. And let me tell you, the moms were asking him the same damn 3 questions that I'm sure every as the kids, they're like, "Sign my Captain America, sign my Defenders, or, sign my Kraven's Last Hunt," or whatever. The parents, like, the mom is standing there, "Where do you get your ideas?" And he's like so patient and so cool. And he's given the same answer he's given 1,000 times. And then, "How does this work? How did you get this done?" And he was like so cool. And again, he left a great impression on me. He's a great guy. I've continued to follow him since then. But just like Dan Jurgens, just a class act, just a great person to meet in the real life. It's just so it's same idea, but just there's those people that are eternally patient, eternally grateful, eternally just good ambassadors for the art form.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing that I agree with you about JM. I had him at I run a comic book con up here called Plastic City. He came to our show like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was almost like a favor to me, which I didn't even know him, but like he happened to work with me because the show doesn't have really a big budget for bringing in guests, but he worked within my budget. He also was also visiting people in Massachusetts, so he kind of did that at the same time.
Worked out.
It really worked out. And then that was
travel,
the year. What's that?
He had business expenses, travel.
Yes, exactly.
And then for business, and then go see his friends.
I felt bad because it was the year we did the convention, and it was so cold in the hockey rink, and he was a trooper, man. He stayed down there and signed all day, and he probably left my show with like
pneumonia.
But like he was such a nice guy, and
he smelled like Zamboni.
Exactly. I'm eternally thankful for him coming to the show. One of the best old school creators I've had at the convention, easily, him and Jerry Ordway. So But yeah, no, I think kids always remember that too when you make an impression on them, or you know what I mean. So there's always something like that, you know.
Well, you guys have had the kids with the portfolios come up at shows, right?
Yeah, I've had that a few times. Yeah,
Those are the
definitely.
most heartwarming ones because you can see it like they've got it, and they're just as excited as you are when you're talking about your stuff, and they're like, you're looking, going, okay, you're a kid, but that is awesome. You know,
Yeah,
like
right.
you know it's
Yeah.
not great yet, but it's gonna be. You can tell.
I've had a few kids come up, or some not even kids, but like older people that want me to publish their books. I've had that a couple times. That's an interesting experience.
That can
I was
go either
like-
way.
I'm just like, you clearly, I'm not a publisher. You know?
Yeah.
Look at Harry says he's going to bring his portfolio next time.
Yes. I want to, Harry, I want to see your portfolio.
He has some funny stuff.
Is Harry Massachusetts too?
Yeah, he does a lot of the local shows.
Okay,
He's
Harry,
more
next
of,
time we're at a show and you're there, we got to meet you.
Yeah, definitely.
There
He's
you
more of
go.
an autograph guy. He's like, he's into the celebrities and stuff. Not much of a comic reader that I don't think he reads much, but he loves our show. He's here every week, every time we're live. So
We
that's-
love having him.
And I
I'm
used
a
to
guest
work
on
with
this show,
Harry.
so
Harry's
that makes me special now.
yeah, right.
Like
And
when
Harry,
we go on
every
Tonight Show or whatever, we're special, Jason.
yeah, right. You probably the best chance you would get to meet him is probably like Terrificon or even one of the Boston shows.
For sure.
Oh, he said
I'll
he'll
be-
be at Plastic City. So if
There you
you're
go.
at Plastic
Yes,
City,
so will we.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, that's
So
the
Harry,
highlight of my year. I'm so excited. You got a new venue and everything, man.
yeah. Oh, wait till you guys see this place. It's awesome. He designs T-shirts too. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
definitely, Harry. Make sure you go meet the Hero Shack crew at my show.
Yeah, man, would love to
Johnny
meet
C,
you.
of course.
Yep.
All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. We've been going. This stream's been going for an hour and 50 minutes. which
Oh,
is
but
crazy.
It's been a blast this whole time.
Yeah, it's been.
It's funny
really-
too. I told Diana it'll be about a half hour. It'll be no big deal.
I
Nope.
know, and Diana's not feeling so good either. I feel
Yeah,
so bad.
thank you for hanging in there, Diana. We appreciate
you're a
it.
trooper, babe.
Yeah, she's
I got
good.
night clothes just for you, honey.
Yeah. So, yeah, I shared in the chat, everybody, the 2 links for both Jason and
Thank you.
Hero Shack's projects there. So definitely check those out. Back them if you can. Support these wonderful creators that come on our show and
And you
talk
know what? though? If
candidly
you
about
can't back it-
everything. What'd you
If
say,
you
Craig?
can't back it, share it. Share it out there, guys.
Yeah.
'cause
Yep.
Sometimes
Yeah.
a share is more valuable than even a backing because it just
Yeah.
spreads that word, you know?
And if you do it
Yeah.
on Twitter, make sure you do the reply thing. Like I guess that's
Yeah.
a big thing now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try
Yep.
to start doing that a little bit. But
Yeah, I'm most
Twitter's
active
getting
on
weirder and
Twitter.
weirder every time I log in. But sorry,
Oh, yeah.
Jason, I didn't mean to step on you.
No, yeah, no. Now the logo is now the Dogecoin logo. So
Yeah,
I don't know
right,
how
that's-
long, I don't know how long that'll last. But I'm the most active on Twitter. So, and again, as an independent creator, if you don't back the book, do a signal boost.
yeah, definitely.
Share the link. Just spread the word, and then take a look at the tiers. Find something that fits your.
I know you got to
your-
close, but I've always wanted to ask this. Is a signal boost just sharing the tweet?
Yeah, just,
Yeah, pretty,
yeah.
Okay.
Basically, just magnify the
Gotcha, okay.
spread the word.
spread the
Gotcha.
word, share it, just like you were
Yeah.
saying earlier.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you normally towards 2 at the end of the show, we let you guys share any other links or any other like where people can find you, that kind of thing. So whoever wants to go first, go for it.
So I'm
Okay.
the most active on Twitter, and so follow me on Twitter at Jason_Sandberg, and then obviously the campaign is on Indiegogo. So far, I'm not shadow banned. So if you go to Indiegogo and search Jupiter, you'll see it. They actually favored it, or they actually put it for they highlighted it for arts and media.
Okay.
So I think rather than shadow banning me and hiding me, they're actually trying to refer.
Yeah,
it.
that's
So-
going on Indiegogo now, huh? I've been hearing
Yeah.
about that a little bit.
Yeah.
That's wild to me. But anyways,
Yeah.
so that's good. I'm glad they're not doing that to you.
Yeah. So far so good. And
yeah,
yeah,
so
so
far
it's on Indiegogo, and then I've got a Facebook page for it, but I don't do much Facebook anymore. It's mostly Twitter. So follow me on
Yes.
Twitter, and then I tweet I signal boost other creatives, and if I see something funny, I retweet it. nothing political, and then I just trying to spread the word about you.
Yeah, it's the way to be. And how about you, Chris? Diana, anything you want to share?
Diana, what's the Twitter address? Hero Shack? Is it just the Hero Shack?
Hero Shack Press. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And
the reason I'm saying that I have a Twitter, but you don't want to follow me. I get too political. I am independent, but I bounce all over the spectrum, and
don't follow his personal.
Yeah.
Business. He's not allowed to post on that because he's cray cray. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. Just don't at me, Chris. Just don't at me. I'm
HeroShack.com though. We do have that.
We do have the website.
We update there a lot.
And it's kind of funny because you don't probably know Jason, but Chris is autistic. He's highly functioning, but he is got that crazy sort of thing going on. So I got to reel him in a little bit. So he's banned from our Twitter.
Our business Twitter, I got banned from. Yes.
Yeah.
It's too funny.
That's great.
Leave it at that.
Yeah. Just don't at me, and I'm good with that. That's awesome. I honestly on Twitter, I'm the same way. I just don't. I just look at comic stuff, and I don't.
It's
care
better
about
not to get involved in the politics, but honestly, I look at the headlines and I go, "Oh, I got to say something because the world won't be happy unless I tell them."
Right? Like you're gonna change the world with your opinion.
What did you do?
Yeah.
Amy, you're so funny. Amy's like, I'm following Chris on Twitter. Hi, Lorenzo.
Yeah, I saw that. Amy said I'm immediately following
Oh,
Chris.
No. I don't want to offend anybody.
Don't do it, Amy, because that better not leak over to me.
Yeah, really. No, seriously. I don't want to upset anybody. I love you guys.
You know what, Chris? Amy's sort of like you she'll be on Facebook and something will come up and she has to say something. So, and I'm always like, don't tag me on anything.
That's like Diana. Diana's like, why would you even get involved in a conversation about whatever, crayons? I don't know. They said this.
Yeah.
So?
No. Yeah, no, that's great. Hey,
Right,
Lorenzo joining us tonight too.
Hey, brother.
Sorry, you just got here as we're starting to wrap
as we're leaving.
Johnny, anything you want to highlight or signal boost this week?
Nothing particular. I'll save a Kickstarter rundown for the next show because we ran so late and I don't want to keep our guests any longer. But I do want to thank our guests for taking the time out of their evening to share their projects and their creativity with us. Thank you, Jason, so much. Everybody should go ahead and back Jupiter. Thank you, Diana and Chris. Everybody should go over to Indiegogo and back Man Guy. And
Yoshikon, is that how you say it? Man Guy,
you sure can. Now,
you sure can.
Yeah, that's even a play. Think about that. You sure can.
Yeah.
That's great.
Johnny, you don't want to do a GoFundMe for sturdier shelving?
I might need I could just, I was thinking I might be able to just make up the extra money on the side of my OnlyFans page.
All right, I gotta go.
That's awesome. I also want to thank both, and Jason, nice meeting you tonight. And then I also want to thank our friends here, Chris and Diana, that we see all the time at shows. Always great seeing you guys, and I'm glad you come on the show from time to time and put up with us for 2 hours. So that's great.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. And if you guys have any money left over from backing Jason and Chris, Mighty Mascots is still in demand on Indiegogo. 7, 8, 9. Issue 7 and 8 are pretty much done, but I'm doing what you're doing, Chris. I'm tweaking things, and 9 is almost there too. So we're getting there.
It's such a blast that way because you get so familiar with it. It's like when something's off. Then
Oh yeah, of course. Right? Yeah, definitely. So that's all for me, guys. If anyone doesn't have anything else to say, we'll go ahead and finish this off. No,
be excellent to each other.
Word? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good week and read some comics.
You.
All right. Good night.
Thank you.